What's today's webinar? Mastering NetDocs Workspaces, best practices and expert tips, really referred to as workspace design. It's time we did another one of these where I'm going to go over and show you how we think you probably should set up a NetDocs workspace. If you talk to 10 different NetDocs consultants, you'd probably get 5 different answers. I don't think you get 10 different answers, but you at least get 5 different answers here. And there's always a kind of thing is, hey, do we do this before we go live? Do we do it after we go live? And really that becomes a fact of, were you using a prior DMS or document management system before you used the NetDocs, or did you have nothing to begin with? If you have nothing to begin with, like you're coming from a Windows folder environment, I'm like, yeah, we probably should do the workspace design now. If you're coming from a prior DMS like WorldDocs or eDocs, I'm like, let's get you over the way you have it right now. And then in a month or two later, once the dust is settled, then we can talk about workspace design. Kind of feel that's the best way it works, but we're up to all options here. Now, before we start on this one, and that's error number 72 today, things that have happened. We're going to go over NetDocs updates, optimal updates, and then NetDocs tips like we always do. My big problem, if you want to hear me complain today, and you have to listen to me so you do, is some reason our Microsoft licensing has just stopped working in Office 365. And so it hasn't become an issue yet because like the license on my computer is paid for a year, but like on the training computers, they've expired. Microsoft screwed something up, but they don't know how to fix it. So we're trying to get the rest of our computers licensed. So I'm forced to do this off my real computer, which I hate, but oh well. I'll deal with that. I'm living in Fairhope, Alabama right now. My mom just had a hip replacement, so I'm helping her out. So I'm not in my office. And then like internet connection, all that good stuff is gone. Wrong, but you know what? We're still going to have a good time today. So let's go over. We're going to look at NetDocuments updates, what's new, and we just want to see here. Oh, again, 2.66. I didn't know about this. I mean, it just happened yesterday. All right, so NetDocs M365 add-in 2.66 has been updated. Now, how do we know what we're using? I don't have it installed. You know what we can do here? Office 365 Outlook. All right, this will be good for everyone to go over real quick. All right, so what are we talking about in this add-in? I'm not talking about ND Mail. I'm not talking about ND Save. I am talking about this. So let's just do this. If we click on this email, these 3 dots here, oh, there's the NetDocs plugin. This is what we're talking about. Now, if you're using the new Outlook, which I don't recommend, this is what you're using. If you're saving an email from your iPhone or your Android device, this is what you're using. You should not be using this if you're using Outlook Classic on a Windows PC, which is 95% of you right now. So there's an update now about 2.66. So there isn't anything that it appears we have to do to get that update because I didn't update it. I just told you I didn't even know it existed. Okay, the update has gone to all users who have the plugin. All right. Option to bypass profile validation. Okay, and version sharing. So I don't know if that's a big deal. I mean, the idea here for everyone to know is that the goal by the end of the year is to get the Office Outlook plugin to match what ND Mail and ND Save can do, which will allow users to move to the new Outlook, which I don't think is that great, but it will allow you, it is faster. And by the way, you ask 10 IT consultants, you might get 2 or 3 different answers on that one too, if you should use that. So We definitely have the new plugin. What's new under announcements too? Refreshes. Single sign-on. I hope everyone has seen that. That's come out, and clear DocuSign status. We talked about that on the webinar last time. So, I mean, these are just new. You can go and Google what's new there. Optable updates, NetDocs tips. Ooh, this is based off of an office hours question we got maybe 3 office hours ago. If you're using collab spaces and you're following a collab space, which means when an external user goes to upload documents to the collab space, you get an alert. If you have a collab space and you've created folders in that collab space, you do not get an alert when someone adds something to the folder. Therefore, you also must follow the folders. We didn't know that. All right. So this is why we created this article explaining, hey, you got to go into those folders and actually follow this folder. And then when someone uploads something to that folder, you'll get an alert. Maybe this is a good way to say, if we're creating a collab space where we want people to upload documents, don't have any folders. Okay. Now, if you have a collab space where you want people to look at documents or download, then have folders. But we figured that out the hard way. I think that's the big takeaway. You know, we usually have a couple. How to force emails to open up an Outlook Classic. Microsoft is good as trying to force us to open them up, and I screwed it up the other day during a training. How to delete users in NetDocs. This is only for NetDocs admins. We'll keep those 3 of the things there. And then event-wise, office hours next week. Man, I don't have a break, so it's every Wednesday now. Office hours next week. Workspace Security Manager the week after that. Looks like we have some time in between here. I'll probably try to schedule a webinar in between there because I think there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. All right, so let's talk about workspace design here. Now, things have changed throughout the years. The way we set up NetDocs when we did our first NetDocs install in 2010, 15 years ago, is different than we set it up now. The main thing that has changed is the use of the folder packs here. Okay, so we have the ability now when you create a NetDocs environment to go in and have folders appear. But let's just go over, if we're looking at this workspace, what everything is. Let me get out my little pen here. Question, will we eventually be forced to go to the new Outlook? Microsoft changed. It was supposed to be last year, then it was supposed to be this year, and then it's supposed to be in like 2030, and I think the robots will have taken over by then, so I'm not super worried about that. But that's a Microsoft question, and they keep changing. They keep just changing what it's going to be. Not this year. That's definitive. So I'm not really sure when. But there's too much pushback on the new Outlook for Microsoft to force us. All right, we're looking at a NetDocs workspace. So we have to be in a workspace-based cabinet. Again, let's point that out real quick. This is a workspace design webinar in NetDocs, and this is Optable's NetDocs. We have multiple cabinets, okay? You can either organize cabinets by folder or workspace-based. This is true 95% of the time. Everyone's client cabinet is a workspace-based cabinet where your client documents reside. And then we have a cabinet called library. It is a folder-based cabinet. So if I want to go into forms here, I have to open up forms, and then I have to go into a folder called NetDocs forms, and then I have to go into a folder called email templates. This is a folder-based cabinet. If I want to create a folder in here, I can easily create a folder. The limitation of a folder-based cabinet is when I want to go search for something, okay, I don't really have the ability to tag like an attribute like doc type or author or client or Matter, I just kind of have to search everything and hope it comes up. So folder-based cabinets like this one, there's not a lot of files in here. And it's not something we need to be super organized about. We've got a kind of good organization structure. So that's the reason we would have a folder-based cabinet. Whereas your client cabinet, usually you're in a client Matter structure. Usually that stuff is coming over from your billing and accounting program or your practice management. And we want to organize it so I can go, let me find a pleading I did in 2014. I'm choosing the doc type pleading. I'm choosing a year 2014, and then I could do a search that. And if you have a folder called pleadings, pleading draft, outgoing pleadings, incoming pleadings, pleadings, that would be me because I misspelled it, then how do you do that search, right? So long way of going back into our cabinet here. How is this thing organized? There are 3 layers of organization in a cabinet, and this is just wants to be blank, so why not? All right, saved searches, recent documents to deleted items, those are all saved searches. Recent emails to in collab spaces, saved searches. Then we have folders. I have 3 folders here. Discovery dash folder, and it's got 2 folders underneath it. Experts, there are 5 experts I have here. And then pleadings, and I have these 4 folders or these 5 folders that were created in pleadings. Okay, those are folders. Now in NetDocs, the advantage of having a folder is you can create a subfolder underneath it. Below the folders that are in yellow are filters and doc type filters. So when I save a document into NetDocuments and I choose the doc type agreements, an agreements filter appears and the document shows up in there. When I save a document to memos, a memos filter appears and the document shows up in there. Now, the first big decision-making point that we always go over with users, and honestly, sometimes we do this after the fact, is do you want every doc type filter to appear on a workspace? If you have less than, let's say, 15 doc types, I am fine having every filter appear, okay? Because it's not really that cluttered. But if you have 75 doc types, I do not want the doc type filters to automatically appear. I want them to only appear when I save a document and there's actually something in invoices or in motions or in orders. Like there has to be something in motions for this filter to appear. So when you're going in, and let's go to save a brand new document. So file, new. All right. So we'll choose here. The minute I choose the doc type agreements, if there's nothing in agreements right now, a filter will appear and the document will be in there. So if you're using filters, do you want to see every filter or do you only want to see a filter when there's something in it? That is a decision your firm has to make or your practice area has to make, because NetDocs is sophisticated enough to say this is a litigation matter, organize it differently than an estate planning matter. So that's the consideration there. Now, the next thing, or really this is the top thing, be all over the place in this one, is filters versus folders, okay? Filters versus folders. And I know for optimal, and this is kind of why are we the way we are, where we're doing 2 things. We're moving people from a product called WorldDocs who had no concept of folders whatsoever. And then we're moving people from Windows folders who all they know is folders, okay? The WorldDocs people, and there's a lot of them, are fine without there ever being a folder, okay? Although we do introduce them. The Windows people want everything to be a folder because they want to go into discovery and then they want to basically create a sub filter, because this is a filter, it ain't a folder, that says, outgoing discovery, incoming discovery, and they want to easily be able to see it. So folders do not allow you, or folders allow you to have subfolders. Filters do not allow you to have sub filters in that view. So that's the big question there. Now, I believe the answer is that there's a compromise. At your firm, you say, okay, these 5 doc types really need subfolders. Okay. Now, if you have 25 doc types, I don't want you to come back and say, well, these 25 doc types all need subfolders. Although I guess you could, but I mean, at that point, I feel like no effort was actually done. We just said they all do. Now, I will tell you from doing this, discovery, pleadings, and experts always need folders, which is why we have them here. So what I would like is for this to be filter-based and folder-based. So you have both. It is a hybrid environment. Have I seen firms be set up truly with just folders? Yes, I have. Okay. And more and more and more. So all your doc types would be a folder, and then you could create as many subfolders as you want underneath there. Okay. What's the repercussion with doing it? Again, I think it goes, I just don't think everything, I think it allows people to then needlessly customize and go granular and granular and granular when we kind of don't want to do that. So I'm hoping for a hybrid. At the end of the day, I work for you and I will do whatever you say. Also, I feel like I've got some inherent bias in my mind about being against folders. Like I know that that's there, right? So I have implicit bias of hating folders. So I know, Craig, when you're making a decision, you're going to say, don't have a folder. Well, maybe you should. So this all kind of changed maybe about 3 years ago when NetDocs released something called folder packs. So let's go into the client's demo cabinet. Now, a lot of you, you're not a cabinet administrator. You might not be able to do this. Let's open up what is called a folder pack. So what this allows you to do, and in this matter right here, I have these folders I want created on every single matter. But you could get granular. So you could say, I want these folders created on all estate planning matters, and I want different folders created on MedMal. You can definitely do that. So I'm going to create a folder called experts. Okay. And I'm going to give the doc type experts to this folder. So anytime someone saves something to this folder, it automatically fills out the doc type experts. And then under discovery, I'm going to create these 2 subfolders, and I'm going to give everything the doc type discovery. And then under pleadings, I'm going to create these 4 subfolders and give everything the doc type pleadings. So when those folders are created, they're all coded with the doc type. So when someone saves something to a folder like pleadings, if they save it into the pretrial motions, the doc type automatically appears as pleadings, which gives us the ability to search for that. So folder packs really change things. Once I get through the folder packs and the cabinets, we're going to go into all the questions we're getting here. So folder packs have really changed that. The other thing, and this is what I usually end up recommending if we're going this route, is there is a setting that was introduced about 2 or 3 years ago. Okay. Select the group of people that can create top level folders. So I want everyone to know this appears. The problem is right now in your NetDocs, probably anyone can create a top level folder. And there's certain reasons why I don't want everyone to just do whatever they want. I want there to be a little bit of management in your document management software. So you can create a group of people that can create top level folders, but that just forces everyone else to go in and only create subfolders. Now let's go in and let's come back over to our training matter and let's go there. All right, is there an option to add an attribute to use for searching in the folder structure environment? Yeah, I mean, there is. And again, the things to think about here is that, for example, that's really what we're talking about here. So if I go to pleadings and I go here to edit profile, this folder pleadings has a doc type called pleadings. So the other thing is the way I've set it up is you save a document there. It's getting the doc type called pleadings, and you can search for the doc type pleadings, and anything in that folder is going to appear. How do I get into the folder pack screen again? That is, a folder pack is created by a cabinet. We'll go back into it, but I just wanted you to see here that again, on this matter, we've created 3 different folder packs, okay? Experts dash folder, pleadings dash folder, and discovery dash folder. Now, one of the questions I always get is, why are you doing that, Craig? Why are you coming in here and putting folder right here? I mean, why do I need to do that? Well, because you can't always see this pretty icon anywhere. I want to distinguish it from this. I want to distinguish it from this and from this. So when I'm looking at it, I know. Now in this screen, I get it. You do know because one has a yellow filter, one has folder. The other reason, and I don't know if this is still the case, but it was like 6 years ago, if you had a folder called pleadings and you had a filter called pleadings, the workspace could short circuit and do all sorts of crazy crap. And then the client would call me up. They're like, what's going on with this workspace? And I'm like, oh, let me just add a dash folder there and hit refresh, and then it would fix all your issues. I think the where does this come up? Let's come back over to Word here. And if we do a save as, and we come over to client's demo, and I'm going to choose massive dynamic now. Okay, no, it's here. It's fit. Here, we don't have to worry about it. Where is it? Trust me, it is somewhere in NetDocs now. So it's not in ND Office. Maybe it's an add upload. That's the other reason. So in ND Office, we don't care because ND Office is telling us. I would still add the folder there. Again, you're adding it when you have a doc type filter with the exact same name. So just make it different. Discovery dash folder versus discovery filter. So, but we can see it in ND Office. I bet you it's add upload. I bet you that's where it is. Let's just come add upload. This might be the last place then. No, it's not even here anymore. Here it shows you discovery and discovery dash folder. So maybe I'm just gotten too old for it. So maybe that's why it's there. All right, let's come back over to how do we create a folder pack. So we're going to come over, we're going to open up the cabinet in NetDocs, okay? We're going to come over to folder packs, and let me just go back and show you where that was because I went way too quick there. We're going to come over to folder packs. All right. And then you have one of 2 options here. If you have set up your NetDocs to use Matter Type, I would be creating folder packs for individual matter types. In this example here, we don't, in this demo cabinet, it's just, this is what we use for every single matter. So you're going to create your folder packs, add folder, you're going to add subfolders underneath it. You're going to assign those folders different doc types. You only have to do the top level here. Just an FYI, there is a way to do security on this as well. So you could actually, what I've seen some clients do on Matters is, hey, we have really secure documents that only these 3 people should see on every matter. Create that little folder there called like secure documents or something like that. So that when we're in that, we save something in there, the security automatically applies. Those are your options in the folder pack. Now, once you've created a folder pack, and look, to be honest, this is something that you can hire our company to do for you. Like, we'll help you with the design, because once you create the folder pack, you got to go into define workspace template. And then you've got to come over to add folder pack. And I don't have the option because I've already added the folder pack here, but then I would add folders here. So there's an add folder pack, and you can turn on and off the folders. So that allows you to add a folder pack. The problem, and I need to check this out here because I'm not exactly sure when this occurs, but once you are using folder packs, and by the way, folder packs, if you went after this webinar today and created a folder pack, it is not showing up on every single workspace. You would have to come over and go to refresh workspace to get the folder pack to appear. So we have a way in the backend NetDocs program, ND Toolkit, which they only give to consultants because you could really destroy someone's NetDocs. We have a way of refreshing all your workspaces if you need us to do that, which is what I'm doing here. The other thing I want to warn you of is when you have folder packs turned on, you have to be very careful about refreshing all your workspaces because it can create duplicate folders. Like if we have a client that's like, hey, Craig, we made a change to the workspace. Will you refresh all our workspaces? We'll say yes. We shut off all the folder packs, refresh the workspaces, and then we turn the folder packs back on. So doc type filters, for most of your doc types, we're shooting between 10 and 25 doc types per matter or per practice area. All right. And then folders for anything that needs subfolders. And again, this is where I find it really useful. We've got this pleadings folder here with all these subfolders. I don't know why this thing is still, can I just drag this? Again, nothing's going to work today. So I'm just like, have like a Zen moment where I'm just like, it's just not going to work. Nothing's going to show up correctly. It's one of those days. So here's our folders here. This bothers me in an example. Now, some people like, it doesn't bother me because it is very useful, but sometimes when I'm looking for a pleading, I can just go into pleadings. I just wiped all the filters now. So again, that is what it is. I could go into the pleadings and actually just search for all the pleadings. Great, but I have no doc type filters anymore because I am cursed today. Let's go to the save searches because I think this is where it gets really, really powerful. So recent documents and recent emails. If we set up your NetDocs, you got those, okay? Recent documents is a save search that is showing you any document edited or changed in the last 14 days. By the way, that is completely changeable. So you could say, Craig, we want you to change recent to 7 days or 5 days or 30 days. You can set that up. So that is a save search. So something exists in recent documents. And it also, let's just try this. Let's see if we can come back in. All right. Let's see if there's anything in massive dynamic anymore. It's just completely gone. No, it's completely gone. And it's just spinning. All right, let's come over to The Bluth Company mediation. Maybe we got, all right, well, at least we have one folder. That one's horrible. All right. Yeah, so that one's just junk. All right, you know what? Let's do this one. I'm just gonna go into which one should I go into that I won't get in trouble for? I'll come into this one right here. This is one of our workspaces. So recent documents, okay, is a save search 14 days. Anything added or changed. So for example here, screen report is in the client doc type. All right. But it's also here because it's been changed in the last 14 days. Recent emails, any email saved into the system in the last 14 days. Okay, you have those saved searches. Now, here are some other saved searches that you could add that I think really actually get rid of the need to have certain doc types. All right, my company is called Optiable, if you didn't know. Okay. All right. Optiable emails. What is this save search? Anytime an email is from someone with an Optiable address to someone with an Optiable address, internal emails. We created a save search, and I can actually show it to you here. But because at one point we had a doc type that was like internal correspondence, and I was like, yeah, screw that. I do not want, because then when I'm saving email, I got to go in and change it from correspondence to internal. Like, no, I'm not doing that. The point of the DMS is to make you more efficient. So if we go in here and I'm going to come over to show criteria, it's from an optimal email address to an optimal email address. Now, other people outside of the firm could be CC'd on it, but this is basically our internal email doc type now is a saved search where we don't have to do anything about it. It's just there. That is a great one to add. Emails to and from NetDocs, okay? Save search here on the criteria, and it's pretty straightforward if we come over here and look at this. Either at NetDocs is here. I'll show you where you set these up, by the way, or it's to or from. Okay, it's in one of those rooms. So that way I can easily look like, hey, what did I promise NetDocs, or what did NetDocs promise me? All right, milestone right over here. Don't have anything in milestone here. The easiest way for me to show you that is let's come over. Well, let's just come back here because there's something I could just add. So I'm going to come back over to this one. How do I get something in the milestone? Milestone, smoking gun, hot docs. It is something important. It's something important I don't want to have to look for all the time. So I'm going to come over to this implementation sheet, something we use all the time. I'm going to come over to edit profile, and under milestone, I'm going to mark yes. And then I'm going to hit update. Now, when I come back over to the actual workspace, under milestones, the save search here, there it is. So you got a document, a workspace that has 1,000 documents in it. I mean, I've had workspaces up to 1,000,000 documents in it. You don't want to search for everything. Well, having a save search like that, milestone, is useful. How do you do it? You create a profile attribute called milestone. You give it the option. You don't have to have no, because if it's blank, it's no. You choose yes, and then it shows up there. All right. What else do I have here that's interesting? Meeting notes. Okay. So we are using Otter AI. Otter AI is the thing that is, it's on here now, recording this actual presentation. When I save any of these, this is saved as the doc type correspondence, right? Because it's an email and it's going in as correspondence. Okay. but it's saved here. How does it show up under meeting notes? Well, we told NetDocs, hey, anytime you get something under Otter AI, show up under meeting notes. So whenever you call me and you're like, ask me something, I go to your Matter and I go to meeting notes and I'm like, what did we talk about? And there's a summary of the meeting notes. Meetings. So anyone that does a calendar appointment with me, we're using something called Schedule One, which is doing the calendar. So I've set up a save search so I can just see all the meetings I've had with clients. They all show up there. That is saying, hey, if this email address is in here, let me go. That's the saved search. Oh, there's another one here. IT correspondence. Okay. So we figured this one out too. Is sometimes I want to, you are all law firms, and a lot of you either have in-house, which is hard to track, or if you have external IT companies, we create a saved search on the Matter, and we can look at this one right here. So here's the IT correspondence with the IT company. What we do is we go in here, what's the show criteria, and we put in the domain name of the IT company. So I don't have to, when I'm saving emails now, I used to have to save the email correspondence NetDocs, correspondence IT, correspondence client, correspondence other, correspondence with Optimal. We just have a general correspondence. That is letters and emails. And using save searches, we've forked it all out. So if we go into admin now, and I'm going to go back in and then I'll stop and answer questions here. We'll open up Optimal's client cabinet. And then we're going to go to the top left-hand corner, Workspace Templates. Anytime you change this workspace, it's only going forward unless we go and refresh the workspaces. And if you're using folder packs, there could be a danger in refreshing the workspaces. Just want to tell you that right now. So here are our saved searches. How do we add a saved search? Add saved search. And then we fill out the criteria. So optimal emails. Let's look at the criteria here. And again, this is where I'll show you how I figure it out. But I put this in here. So to or from has optimal in it, and it's an email MSG or EML here. And realistically, I need to go back through and see if this is the way I wanted it. It's not an or. It has to be to and from in Optimal to show up there. So this is internal emails. Instead of Optimal, just say that says internal emails. And then we can look at recent documents. So you see here, not an email or a filter or a folder, and the modified date is -14. Okay, I know this is like, how the hell does he know how to put that in here? And trust me, I'm not that bright. I'm going to show you how to do that. Emails to NetDocs, so emails to or, because this was not an either or. It's either to NetDocs or from NetDocs there. And then the milestone, anytime this is yes, okay. And then meeting notes, edit here. So anytime no reply Zoom or no reply Otter AI, because it could be either from Zoom or Otter. So when you save it to NetDocs, it shows up there. So how do you figure out these saved searches? Like, for example, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to switch this from the all to the email search. Okay, emails from @optimal.com. Okay. And then I'll do a search. Now I'm going to get 22,000. Okay. Now under search results, show criteria. That's what I'm copying when I go to the workspace template. So I'm always doing the search. And then the workspace always limits it to whatever workspace you're in. So I've ended up trashing a whole bunch of stuff today. Let's see. You know what? I bet you there's still one matter that is not messed up here. Let's come back into it. Massive Dynamic is, but let's come over to Bluth LLC formation. I bet you that baby's still LLC formation. Please be good. There we go. All right. So again, all documents and emails. If you're using Set Builder, this is a great save search to have. Okay, because it shows you all documents and emails and basically a list view. So if you're looking to add stuff from a set here, that's why we have that save search. So if I'm redesigning a workspace for you, I'm going to speak for like 2 more minutes, then we'll go into questions. If I'm designing a workspace, first thing let's consider, do you segment stuff at your law firm by area, practice, or matter type or not? If you don't, we'll just do it for the entire firm. If you do, we will set up customizations for each area of practice. What doc types do you definitely need subfolders for? Once you give me that list, we will create folder packs linked to doc types. What are our doc type filters that we will be using? Shooting between 10 and 20 and 25, and do we want to see those regardless if there's anything in them or not? And then how can we use save searches to eliminate some of the doc types that we might not need, like internal emails, stuff like that? How can we limit those as well? So to make it really, really easy. And I'll end with this. The one thing, saving email, I want to make it as quick as possible. So when you save an email to NetDocs, it goes to the correct place without you having to put internal or external. All right. All right, so I think we went over how do I get to the folder pack screen again? That is in the cabinet, okay? The cabinet settings, you have to be in there. Top right-hand corner is folder packs. Once you create a folder pack, though, you have to go into the workspace template and add it there. This part, some people know how to do this, some people don't. We are more than happy to do it for you, but we'll charge you money, okay? So that's just the caveat there. Milestone, how did you decide on that name? You could have named it anything. I mean, again, I think when I first started, the attorney that I was working with, he called them hot docs. I think she was like, hey, when I go into a file and I see something important, that's a hot doc, and I want to do it there. Now, I worked with a program called Hot Docs, which was a document. I was like, I can't call it Hot Docs. It'll confuse everyone at the office. So we just decided to choose the name Milestone. Okay. But you could call it important documents. All right. You could call it whatever you wanted. To do that, you need a profile attribute and a save search linked with that. All right. And then let's come over to, and nothing in the Q&A. Okay. So is there an option to add an attribute to use for searching in the folder structure environment? We talked about you on any folder, you can go in. And so in the folder packs, okay, so look this way. In the folder packs, you set what the folder is. If you are going into any matter, and again, just realize nothing's going to work today. So I was going to show you if I created a folder like discovery from Craig Bayer, I could go into that folder and say, hey, mark this discovery. So anything I save in here becomes discovery. So I don't have rights to add anything to this one, of course. This is why I didn't screw it up, is because I've locked myself from screwing it up. Okay, what about, okay, that library cabinet where the doc type is shown to search? Well, again, and this is, and I see some of you, in your NetDocs, the first, and this is good because we'll talk about this, because when people always ask me to do something, I'm the annoying person that's like, well, that's not the right terminology. So the first level when we save something to NetDocs is which cabinet are you going to save it into? Okay. Now, my library cabinet is a folder-based cabinet. I can do a search for text and file or document name. There's no client, there's no matter, there's no doc type for me to search for. And I'm okay with it because this cabinet is under 10,000 files. Like if it's going to be super small, I don't feel I need that. that ability there. When it's our client related work, we're talking about hundreds of thousands to millions of documents. I need to be able to find, you know, uh, pleadings that we did last year. Um, Now, going back, okay, so we want to see this field again. So when we are creating a folder pack, I'm going to admin. We can just wait here for the rest of the training because it won't show up. All right. Once we're in admin, hey, at least it'll be real easy to follow. We're going to open up the client cabinet. Once this decides to open up, we will go to the top right where it says folder pack, and we will open that up. All right. This is optable, so not in our demo cabinet here. But if I go into clients, for example, external documents, all right, profile. So if I come over to edit profile now, I can come over and say anytime um, we get something in the external documents folder, code it the doc type client. You can also do other stuff with it as well. Like you could say, hey, anything in here, I would never do this, but mark it a milestone or something like that. So this webinar today was really about cabinets that are workspace based, which are always your client. That's why in our NetDocs cabinet, in our library cabinet, even in our admin cabinet, it's not workspace. It's just regular folder based. It's under 10,000 documents. We're not doing a lot of searching there. The one thing that I would like, and people don't do this, by the way, but I feel it would make your NetDocs easier to deal with, is to, hey, decide as a firm, here are the 5 folder packs we're going to put on the top of a workspace. And then in the cabinet, create a group of people and like top level folders or something like that, and you assign them to that group. That they are the only other people that can create top level folders on a matter. That keeps the matters or the workspaces looking consistent so that when someone is in them and maybe they haven't been in that matter in the firm before, they know where that stuff is because they're all firm wide consistent. Okay. So I see the confusion in the thing. So the first time you come in here and create a folder pack, okay, nothing will happen until a brand new workspace is created, and then you will see that folder pack. Now, to get that workspace to appear on a previous workspace, you can refresh the folder pack, refresh the workspace. So if I come in here and refresh, then the folder pack will show up. Okay. And then my warning for you is once a folder pack has been applied to a workspace, you shouldn't really refresh it anymore. The other thing that you can do, and I will tell you, I'll end with this because this is actually something that I'll show you how we've set up our workspace because I think that's honestly the best way to look at it because this is something that we've been doing for 15 years. We set it up. So define workspace templates. Okay, this is Optimal's workspace. We're everything's organized by doc type filters, which it says recommended here. It's another reason why I want filters over folders. Okay. Here's how we're labeling this: client name, client key, matter key. And then modify template layout. I have added some like accounting, client, correspondence, implementation, CSV filter, IT. All these here, these doc types show up no matter what. So when I was talking about it before, I'm saying you can have certain doc types appear on a workspace, regardless if there's anything in there or not. And I honestly feel like it's time now to go through and change some of this. Like I don't need the optimal doc type filter to show up anymore because we replaced it with the save search. Um, CSV filter, I don't need anymore. Client, I don't need anymore. Accounting, I still want up there. Accounting's bills, stuff like that. Correspondence is a catch-all now, but the save searches, emails to and from NetDocs, emails to and from Optiable, recent emails, those all there. Oh, one other thing that you could do, because I've done this for clients. Under save search, you could have a my documents and my emails. That changes depending on who's logged in the system. But if you go to this Matter and you go to my emails, it's all your emails in the Matter. You being to or from, you could actually choose all my to emails, my from emails, and my documents. Anything you've created or modified can show up in a save search as well. So recent documents, you could have my recent documents, recent emails, my recent emails, and that changes depending on who's logged into NetDocs. All right. It's been a crazy week, but I feel it'll get better. Once I get through this stupid Microsoft issue. There. Although I will say this, I'm not as worse as there was working with a firm moving them to NetDocs and they got the CryptoLocker virus and everything's encrypted on theirs. So my week is not as bad as their week. So I can say that. Any other questions about how to design a NetDocs workspace? All right. I appreciate everyone's time uh, today. And then, like I said, what are we doing next week? You should probably know that we're doing Workspace Security Manager. All right. Oh, office hours. Good. Office hours. Maybe you play around with this week, come back for office hours, and then we'll do Workspace Security Manager October 1st. Everyone have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you for all the positive comments. It was helpful today.